I was looking for something comfy and stylish, then I thought of a butterfly bubu with ruffles. Hello beautiful people, my name is Chinaza Victory and you're welcome back to Nazi Styles YouTube channel. In just a few minutes, I'm going to teach you how to cut and sew this stylish butterfly bubu with ruffles. Please make sure you watch this video and watch it to the end. Let's get started. I'll be making use of these two fabrics. The Ankara fabric is about 2 yards, while the organza fabric is 1.5 yards. I started by folding my fabric into 2 equal parts. I folded it wrong side facing the wrong side of the fabric because I'll be marking on the right side of this fabric. That's why I folded it wrong side of the fabric facing the wrong side. Okay, after folding it to 2 equal parts, I proceeded to fold it again, making it 4 folds. The folded part is the center front and the center back, which is this part, while the upper part is unfold as well. The only open side is the selvage, the place that has a right top on the Ankara. The place I'm touching now, that's the only open side. The style of the blouse or top does not require any shoulder joining, therefore the upper side of this fabric will remain folded. Okay, I won't be marking out any shoulder line. All the vertical measurements will be starting from that folded top. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do now is to measure and mark the length of the top. If you want to make it as a dress or a gown, you can go ahead and impute the length of the dress you want, but for me this is a top and it's kinda a long top, a blouse. Okay, so starting from the top of the fabric, which is the folded part of the fabric, I will measure my length and I'll be making use of length 34. Okay, I also added 1 inch for the hem allowance, but that hem allowance might not really be useful in this case. I'll proceed to impute the neck measurement, and the neck width I'll be making use of is 3.5 inches. I'll be marking the same figure for the front neck depth. That means my front neckline is going to be 3.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Then for the back neck depth, I'll be making use of 1.5 inches. I'll mark all that now and connect it to the neck width using my free hand. After that, I'll proceed to cut out the back neckline first. After cutting out the back neckline, I'll then open up the fabric and fold it in a vertical form. Okay, I will separate the front from the back by folding it vertically. Then I'll cut out the front neckline. So when you separate the back bodice from the front bodice, you should be looking this way. This side is the back bodice, while the other part with the chalk mark is the front bodice. So now, after making sure that the fabric aligns very well, I'll then proceed to cut out the front neckline. To finish up the neckline, I'll be making use of a facing. So if you don't want to make use of a facing, you can also use a bias tape to finish it up, but I have this piece of fabric on fold. The measurement is 6.5 inches by 14.5 inches, and I ironed haystay on the wrong side of the fabric. So while the front and the back bodice is still folded vertically this way, remember the right side of the fabric is facing up, meaning that the wrong side of the fabric is facing the wrong side of the fabric, because I'm still working on the right side of the fabric. And I folded my facing the same way. If you can see in this video, the facing is folded wrong side of fabric facing the wrong side so that it will match with the bodice. Now I'm going to be placing the facing under the blouse this way. I'll place it this way. Okay, when you place it, you make sure that you have some space below both necklines. Okay, if you check below the front neckline, you see that I have enough space around the facing. The same thing goes with the back neckline. There is a space, okay, to work with. So you make sure to arrange it in such a way that the folded part of the facing will align with the folded part of the fabric this way. You can make use of your pins to hold it down. After that, I'll proceed to cut out the neckline following the shape of the already cut out neckline. I hope you understand. I'll trim off the neckline area. Okay, when you open it up, this is what it should look like. I'm going to pick up my chalk now and label the back neckline and the front neckline to avoid any form of confusion. So now you can either leave the shape of the face in this way, or if you prefer a round shape, you can proceed to do that now. So I'm going to be giving mine a round shape. So I've laid the fabric flat on my table with the right side of the fabric facing me, while the wrong side of the fabric is touching the table. So I'll come in with the facing now, and I'm going to be placing it on top of it, right side facing the right side. The right side of the facing will be facing the right side of the fabric. Now ensure that you align the neckline very well. This is the reason for labeling the neckline, so that you will not be confused. So place the part that is supposed to be at the front and place the back side well. After arranging it, you can pin it down if you want. You take it to your sewing machine and sew around the neckline using 0.5 inch. So after sewing the neckline, I went ahead to notch it round. I also top stitched the same allowance towards the facing as seen in the video. When you do this, it will help the neckline area to relax very well and appear neat. Now I'm going to tuck in the facing to the wrong side of the fabric, and I'll flip it over this way so that I will arrange it very well. Okay, when you flip it to the wrong side of the fabric, this is what it should look like. See how neat it's looking already, even without ironing. So I'll proceed to iron it down. Then I'll be making use of my hemming gum to hold down the facing. After ironing the neckline, this is how neatly finished it should look. The next thing I'm going to do now is to fold the fabric again into four, exactly the same way it was folded at the beginning of this tutorial. I will return it to its original state. I'll fold it and arrange it very well. Starting from the shoulder, I'm going to come down by how open I want the sleeve to be, and I'll be making use of 11.5 inches. I'll proceed to mark 11.5 inches. On the sleeve opening mark, which is the 11.5 inches mark, starting from the center front and the center back, I'm going to measure and mark my bust circumference divided by 4 plus 3 inches is, okay? If you want yours to be fitted, you may leave out the ease allowance, or if you don't want it to fitted, you can add extra 1 inch to a quarter of your bust circumference. I'll come over to the hem of the fabric. Starting from the center front and the center back, I'm going to measure and mark my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 3 inches is. This is because I don't want mine to be fitted. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want yours to be fitted, you can just use a quarter of your hip circumference, or if you want a little bit of ease around it, you add extra 1 inch to a quarter of your hip circumference. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to connect this mark to the other mark on the sleeve opening line using a faint line. Remember, I'm still marking on the right side of the fabric. The next thing I'm going to do now is to transfer this mark to the back side of the fabric. So I'll be making use of my pin to do this. So I'll bring in my pin and come over to the first mark on the sleeve opening line. I'll pierce that point, then use my chalk to mark it down. I'll do the same thing to the hem, after which I'll connect the two marks using my straight ruler as well. So when I open it up, this is what it should look like. Now the wrong side of the front bodice is facing the wrong side of the back bodice, and look at the two marks. I'll take it to my sewing machine. I'm going to be sewing on the two lines. Okay, I'll sew on these two lines, then I'll come back and show you the next thing to do. So after sewing on the two lines, I folded the fabric into four again, the same way we folded at the beginning. Okay, starting from the shoulder, I'm going to come down by 15 inches and place a mark there towards the tip of the fabric. I'm going to be placing a mark there, after which I'll come down to the hem I'll come over to the hem around the folded parts of the hem. Okay, you see why I mentioned earlier that the hem allowance might not really be useful, because we're going to be cutting off that side. I'll start curving it out starting from that folded part of the hem. I'll use my free hand to just make a curve to meet with the 15 inches mark. The next thing is to cut it out following the shape of the curve. I'll also trim off the selvage when I get to the 15 inches mark. So this is what it looks like when you open it up. See how beautiful it looks. The next thing is to cut out the flounce and attach to the tip of the blouse. But then you see on this stitch line starting from the hem, I'm going to rip it off by 1 inch. I'll use my seam ripper and open up the stitch line by 1 inch. This is because I would need some space to sew the flounce. When I open it up, I'll back stitch on that spot again so that it will not start loosening from there. So here is the organza fabric, and the first thing I did was to fold it into 4 equal parts, and after that I ironed it very well. I used my iron to give it a very nice press, especially at the center. This is to reveal the crease line around that center area. So I've opened it up and I laid it flat on my table. As you can see, the ironing revealed 4 lines on the fabric. I'll start by forming a small circle using 3 inches. So I'll be marking 3 inches on these 4 lines to form a circle. I'll place my tape at the very center of the fabric and I'll start marking 3 inches round it. After marking it, I'm going to connect all the lines to form a circle. So from one part of the circle, I'm going to be connecting to the next crease line. So after that, I'll determine how long I want the flounce to be, and I'll be making use of 5.25 inches for the length of the flounce. Then I'll start from the next curve of the circle to measure 5.25 inches, and I'll be doing this measurement round it. So I'll keep marking the 5.25 inches following the shape of the circle till I exhaust the fabric. Now if you want a more detailed video on how to cut and sew a flounce, you can check it out on my channel. I'll be leaving the link in the description box or in the comment section. So if you want a more detailed on how to go about a flounce, you can check that out. So this is what it looks like after I finished marking round it and got to the end of the fabric. This is what it should look like. I'll proceed to cut out the flounce following the shape of the lines. After cutting out the flounce, this is what you should have. You should have a very long piece of fabric that is in a spiral shape. So I'll locate somewhere around the back part of the blouse, and I'm going to start sewing from somewhere around the back. Now I'll pick up the flounce. If you look at the flounce, you see the very curvy part. That's the part that I'm going to be sewing at the tip of the blouse. I'll open up the blouse this way, and I'll place that side of the flounce on top of the blouse. I'll make sure that it aligns with the blouse. Then I'll take it to my sewing machine. I'll start sewing 0.5 inch to join the two fabrics together. I'll do this round the fabric till I get to the end of the blouse. Let me quickly go and do that now and then show you the outcome. So this is what it looks like after sewing the flounce. Please remember to overlock the edges of the flounce, okay, using a matching thread. So my beautiful people, if you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're yet to do that, and please leave a comment below. If you have any question, write it in the comment section below, and also remember to share this video to your friends and your loved ones. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next video. Bye.